That's it? Company, Vista Sotheby's.
Vista Sotheby's. I'm Cari, Britt's mom, Cari Corbalis. I've had my license for 39 years. I'm not sure how long Ed's had his. 40 years. 40 years, she just reminded me.
Is this working?
Sure is.
I'm Ed Kaminsky, and I must be younger than you because I've only been doing this 36 years. I'm with EXP Realty, and yeah, thanks. EXP Realty in Hermosa Beach, yep.
Awesome. And that was Ed Kaminsky. Do you guys know Ed? Yeah. Oh, okay, just checking.
Gabrielle Herendeen. I'm with Remax Estate Properties. I have my team here. Go Gabby. And I'm in my 24th year.
Jackie Hu of the Hu and Blue Real Estate Group. We are with KW, and I've been in the business since 2016.
Christina Blue, the Blue of the Hu and Blue Real Estate Group. Yes, we are with KW South Bay, and I've been in the business for 12 years. Thank you. All right, so we're going to kind of go back around, and if you can tell us how many people are currently on your team, including any supporting staff that you have, and how many transactions you did in 2023. Back to you, Britt.
So we have a total of, there's 5 of us, and so we have 2 buyers, two agents. They're not just buyers, agents, and we have a marketing director, and then Cari and I. And we did 59 transactions last year.
Okay. I'll give a caveat because it gets confusing, but we have now 40 people on our team, and this is a new expansion that I've done over the last year, so we weren't always that. Usually had 2 or 3 solid agents and some admin, but we're moving into expansion, and the last few years we've done 100 to 140 deals a year, and that's what we do right now.
Amazing. And all of those 40 people, are those all licensed agents?
We have 32 licensed agents, 32 or 33. I have to go check who shows up today.
Gabby?
We're a little bit more of a SEAL team, you know. We're not as big as Ed, but so I have a licensed assistant and then 4 agents and myself. I'd say we do probably about 50 transactions a year or so, depending. You know, last year was down a bit, but
That is true. Yeah. We're a team of 9, including Christina and myself. We have 1 virtual assistant, and we're bringing back on an in-house TC. We did 58 transactions, including referrals, and our flips.
Okay, and so this question is for our partnerships on the team. So Cari and Britt is a mother-daughter team, and then we have Hu and Blue over here. So the question is, how did your team form? And maybe we have an idea of how that one formed over there. But I guess tell us a little bit about how it started, and maybe how you divide the responsibilities of what happens on your team.
So when I first got my license, Cari did not want me working with her. She specifically said, you have to go do something else. I mean, so I went and worked, I did foreclosures for the first 3 years in the business. I worked for a man named Mark Arico, and then that was end of 2007 through 2011, which was definitely a different time. And then I started working with Cari after that, so that's kind of how our partnership formed. And was that a part of the question?
How do you divide the responsibilities?
The responsibilities, it's because we're a mother-daughter team, and we have this like kind of intuitive thing between us that we know that what we're good at, and we know what the other one would be better at, and we know who would work better with who. So if a client comes to us, we just know, okay, that's a better person for you, that's a better person for me, and we kind of head on that particular client. So we don't usually work on the same transaction. It's usually Cari or I.
I think we like the term we divide and conquer. I think a big mistake teams make, and I think I've talked to Gabby about this before, you can't, if you bring 2 people on every appointment and 2 people in every showing and 2 people every inspection, you're making half the money. So you've really got to not do that, and I see that that's a big mistake when you do form a team, so don't do that. You know, that's the best advice I can give you for who handles what. And it's true, people will gravitate more towards one of us, or maybe Britt's busier at the time or I'm busier at the time, and so that's kind of how we, very fluid.
All right, thank you. And over to Jackie and Christina.
So we were accountability partners for a few years before we started our team. I started a team first, and we partnered, quite honestly, because we each wanted to scale. And we were very aware of our own limitations and our own strengths, and we knew that forming a partnership would be beneficial to both of us. And yeah.
Our division of responsibilities were clarified when we read a book called Rocket Fuel, in that it defines business partnerships as one person is usually the visionary and one person is usually the implementer. Obviously, it doesn't align exactly, but I think it was very helpful for Christina and I. I would say I'm more of the visionary. I'm out there wanting to lead gen. I'm out there wanting to think about big things. You can't tie me down. I'm probably not going to follow up the way that I should be doing or implement the systems, or I'll create the systems, but I don't want to implement them. And so Christina holds down the fort and implements and keeps everybody on track on our team. And like Cari said, when we first started, I think there's times that I would call you and be like, let's talk about every single transaction. And we wasted a lot of our own time. And as we've grown in our business partnership, we're very clear about who's responsible for what. And sometimes it gets a little bit messy, but we really try to stick in our own lanes.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go over to Ed. Ed, how did you decide it was time to make your first hire, and what was that first position that you brought on?
It was pretty early on in my career when I was starting to get things that I needed to get done that I didn't want to do. Making a flyer, right? We used typewriters, I think, back then. But my first hire was a half an assistant. I worked with Raju, you probably remember him. And so I said, would you share one with me? And we shared. And then at some point I said, I want them to myself. And I took them full time at some point and had my first full one. And then it grew into 2. And I had 2 assistants for a big part of my career. And that was all I had.
Thank you. Gabby, same question?
Yeah, same exact kind of situation without the typewriter, but no. Yeah, my first hire was, an assistant, to do those mundane things. Like I just knew, you have to figure out what is your cost or price per hour, right? So if you're doing those things, you could pay someone to do it for less, and then that helps you to scale your business. So I had one assistant for many years before I really built a proper team out.
Perfect. Cari and Britt, what was your first hire after you decided to partnership?
An admin, for sure. We waited too long. We should have done it earlier, but she really runs our lives. She does anything that we don't want to do. She doesn't like people really. So it's really good. She does all that stuff, and we do the people stuff.
Okay.
Is that a good answer?
Yeah. Was that something that you were looking for? Someone who wanted to be behind the scenes, or is that someone that kind of fell into your lap?
Yeah, we wanted somebody that was going to stick with us. I had a big fear of hiring someone to see how, I can make so much more money if I if I become an agent. And I'm like, we wanted somebody that's going to stick with us, and she has stuck with us this whole time because she has no desire to ever be an agent or sell. So that's what we were looking for, and she's been with us since 2016.
Perfect. Christina or Jackie?
Our first hire was admin as well as our team. And then she also was in-house TC and then listing coordinator, and she also did not ever want to be, in front of people, so it worked out really well.
Got it. And I guess this is open to anyone. How did you find this first hire? When you felt like it was right, did you kind of put the feelers out, or did someone approach you, or how did that kind of work out?
go. I mean, I've found a lot of people a lot of different ways, but I think getting the word out is important within the community, whether you're talking to your reps, like your lenders, or title companies. There used to be a distribution of flyer service, so that was helpful, but also looking at your own sphere and your past clients. One of my best hires was one of my clients. So they're usually around you. You just have to pay attention.
Ours we found online, traditional, like Indeed. We did some prerequisite questions, and from there you can usually weed out a lot of people following instructions. And at Keller Williams, we have something called the KPA, which is really incredible. So it's a personality business assessment that really ranks out of 50 different qualifications or job opportunities, what are they the highest on. So that was really cool to be able to tell it wasn't mega agent, if we're trying to hire an admin.
So when I first started, with hiring an admin, I would tend to hire people that I liked, So, and the personality is because they were people and engaging and outgoing, so they all wanted to become agents. Some of them are sitting here right now, which was great, but it wasn't maybe as ideal for the admin long-term role. So I found myself always training them as an admin, training them as an agent, So eventually, 15 years later, I figured out I'm in this cycle, every 2 years my assistant wants to become an agent, So I started doing the personality assessments. I use DISC. So so I've tried to really be cognizant of that pattern.
Cari or Britt, did you guys want to add to that?
It's very embarrassing. We found her off Craigslist.
A sign of the times.
Yeah, definitely. But we also use DISC, to Gabby's point. That's very important. And anyone we've brought it onto our team, we've used DISC and find it very helpful.
I think there's a saying out there that says, hire slow, fire fast. Have any of you had to have an experience where you had to maybe tell someone that it wasn't working out?
Yeah.
Is that all you want to say about that, Ed?
No, it is a great saying, and I think most of us screw that up. It's true. You get anxious, and you need somebody, and just let's go, right? And they're there about an hour, and you're like, shit. That was the wrong person. So you know what? You got to set your metrics for what your expectations are for what they're supposed to perform every week. From Rocket Fuel was another book called Traction. This is the U.S. Business model that we implement. So everybody's got to have a number that they're supposed to meet every week. We meet every week to catch up, and you can start to see where people are performing. And so the one thing we look for, which is also taught from that, is GWC. Do they get it? Do they want it? And do they have the capacity for it? And if they line up on those three, then you've got the right person. And if they're off on one of them, you probably have the wrong person and should make changes.
We had an incredible in-house TC admin marketing person that was very, very good at what she did. We called her our little broker, and she was just on top of everything. And so the hard part was she was not a good culture fit, and culture is a huge part of our team. And that was a hard decision to make because on paper everything was perfect, but if you're bringing that negativity into our office meetings, and then also that's our reputation, right? She's wearing our T-shirt, our logo on her back as she goes out. And so we believe in helping the agent or the team member self-select out. So it was an amicable decision. We're still great friends. So yeah.
Do you have anything? You don't have to.
I mean, of course, yes, it's happened. It's not ideal, but yeah, I mean, we try to still keep it friendly and things. So yeah, but it's going to happen over the years.
We haven't really fired Okay. Well, besides her, she has. Britt's better than I'm never firing anybody. I have a housekeeper that's the worst housekeeper in the world, and I'm never going to fire her because I can't do it. Okay, you can ask.
We just had one person, and it's to your point of when Ed said, sometimes you're in a bind and you need someone really quickly. This was like when the market was just going crazy and we had too much on our plate and we needed someone really badly, so we just hired the first person that came around, and she was late to appointments, meeting clients during inspections and things like that, and it just was not great. But so we got rid of her as soon as we could. But that was the only experience we've had with that. But we don't hire as many people. We have a smaller team, and so we don't have a big. So we've had a lot less hiring, so you have less firing. Right? So.
And I think also with our team, as far as we probably did what maybe all of you will say, we should have hired people sooner than we did. Because when you get so busy, you don't have time to interview, you don't have time to look for the right person. So when you should start thinking about that ahead of time, and don't wait and do what we did where we're scrambling and we're behind, and then we'll hire anybody because you're just behind all the time. So think about doing it ahead of time.
And maybe in that same vein, it sounds like this might not have happened for you, but was there a list of responsibilities or within that job title, something that you kind of prepared to say, like, this is what I really need someone to do for me right now?
I think it's easy to recognize when they're not performing to your expectations because customers are getting disappointed, paperwork's not looking right, there's a culture issue, there's something just showing up, and it's just a matter of, trying to upgrade them if you can and coach them and teach them, or show them a path that they can self-select out, as they said.
Yeah.
I would also say if you're starting to think about your first hire, start writing down all the things you don't like doing. And that starts to create the job description like you were referring to, Alyssa. As everybody up here said, you really do need to assign a metric to them because you need to help that other person win in their job. And if all you're doing is just pouring the crap you don't want to do on them, that's not necessarily going to help them win. They're going to achieve it if you've hired correctly, but you need to help them feel like they've won in their position as well.
That's a great point. And so what has worked for you guys in motivating your team and growing your team culture? Let's go back to Cari and Britt.
Yeah, I mean, we do. We keep, everybody has, even our marketing director, she is on most of her pay structure is bonus and transaction based. So there's incentive there. It's not just a salary, which keeps her very motivated for us to do better because she does better. And then I think we've had one agent on our team for a long time, and we recently hired a second one this past summer. And I think having that second agent really has motivated the first agent to do more because he's like, oh gosh, better stuff. And since then his transaction volume has skyrocketed. It's crazy. So he also had a baby, so there's that too. That's always a good motivating factor. More mouths to feed, but yeah, I think just having some sort of bonus structure for someone that's not in a sales role.
We have a lot going on as it relates to building the culture and the esteem and the confidence and everything else. There's pay structure adjustments or bonuses for certain production that we do for the administrative team, but it's the agents you really have to pour into if you ever have agents on your team because it's tough out there, right? It's hard to get beat up every day. They're not doing the volume they need. They're not making much as the money they want. So you have to find ways to recognize them, to pour into them, to give them value. We have a weekly gigantic necklace that gets passed around the office. It's called a culture necklace. And whoever owns it gets to pass it off to, they choose who it goes to, and they honor them with that. We ring a bell when you sell a house. if you hit a certain volume, your name goes up on the wall or the window, and you get a glass of champagne and caviar and some gold flakes. So sometimes little things. We have contests. None of the contests work long term. You have to change it up all the time. But I am still shocked today that people will fight to get a $25 card, what is this thing? Starbucks card, and they'll work their ass off all month long just to get one, not realizing they get paid $25,000 if they sell a house. So it's interesting, but it's a competitive environment that we try to coach around and teach, and she's 100% right. When you start putting competitive people in that environment, it does elevate the others in the office.
Awesome. Gabby?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a big difference to have like one other, like a buyer's agent. I guess that's more like the natural progression, right? From an admin then to one buyer's agent, but it definitely changes the dynamic to have two, So yeah, and even more so, not just buyer's agent, but to be able, for them to be able to list and everything too. So, not only did I hire assistants who I liked, I also hired agents who I was friends with already. So, I mean, we have an amazing culture. It's pretty incredible. So thanks to them,
Gabby, what do you do to
Yes.
maintain that culture as
Oh
you
my
continue
gosh.
to bring people onto your team?
I mean, we do I do like weekly, we have a weekly team meeting. I do weekly one-on-ones with my agents. And then I also they do coaching with my real estate coach. So I do team coaching, and now they're also coached by my coach. So it's not all on me. And then they've been really good about taking initiative to do different things. They do like a Monday morning thing and all kinds of stuff that I don't even need to know about, because I get overwhelmed being involved in every single detail and everybody's meeting and everything. So it's wonderful that they've finally kind of taken some initiative themselves too, and help, hold themselves accountable and all that. So, yeah.
I'll be honest, I care more about profitability, and Christina really brings the culture aspect to our team, and I've grown a lot because of her. That's why she was cultural ambassador of our region for KW. One of the benefits of joining a team is that you now have people who are in the trenches with you, and so we as a team try to get everybody in the trenches as much as possible together. Most of that does revolve around lead generation, and so we're lead generating together. We gamify lead generation, like Ed was saying, because surprisingly people will work harder for $100 Trader Joe's gift card than for closing a house, and it's because the reward is closer to you than the sale and that $25K you're going to make. And so I feel like that's one of the benefits of being on a team. We're trying to keep you encouraged by gamifying the system, essentially. We do other things. We meet on Zoom every single morning. We do call nights and inventory creation day, and that's where a lot of the gamification happens. We have get-togethers. We just try to keep it positive, especially after this last year where real estate was so hard. You were lead genning twice as much as you normally did and closing half of what you did the year before. And so anything we could do to keep it positive is what we focus on this last year.
The other thing is we believe in transparency, and ego as an agent can really be detrimental to your growth. And so with transparency, we have group coaching. So we're calling out each other's numbers with each other, and we get to have that aspect of, seeing each other's numbers. The ego gets out the window, right? And being able to coach each other through that really helps to build our culture. Also, we bring it out of the office. So once a month, the team meetings that we have is at my house. I cook the team breakfast, and that just kind of puts a pause on the business side and just makes sure that we can grow as a community and as a family so that we can, continue fostering our culture.
Last thing, we do individual business planning with our agents, as I'm sure everybody else up here does, because it's really important to know what number you're trying to hit for the year and why. And getting clear on everybody's big why is really important, because you could tell me you want to close 24 units this year, but what does that actually mean to you? That probably means you're doing 150 open houses a month. And are you actually going to do that? Like, what does the 24 units mean to you? So we really focused last year on getting, towards the end of the year, getting our team really clear on what they're willing to do and what their goal is and why that's what their goal is.
Thank you. Back over to Cari and Britt. What would you say is your ultimate vision or goal for your team? Do you see it growing much larger? Do you feel like this is it? Tell me about that.
We like having a small team. I think it's a lot of responsibility, and kudos to you guys for taking on that responsibility to be, of having to be in control of other people's income. It's scary. It's a lot to take on. So I think we're happy with a small team. I mean, we would possibly grow maybe like 1 or 2 more agents, but I think that's all we're really looking to do.
I think if we did add another agent, it would be somebody who would bring something to our team that we don't already have. And so we cover a lot of bases, so somebody would have to offer something that maybe a different language speaking person or possibly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Ed. You mentioned some changes over the past year.
Yeah, my vision changes every year. So ask me tomorrow, I got a new answer. But right now we are in the middle of a large scaling business operation and growing the team tremendously. Like I said, we went from like 5 to 35 agents over the course of a year. And you have to grow your admin team, you have to grow your sales team, and then you got to get them to sell things. And it's a big effort, super hard, harder than I thought it would ever be. But my vision is clear, and it's, right now I see it at 50 agents on the team and kind of settling in there, and then what happens after that, I don't know. Problem is I keep hanging out, as you guys are here today, you guys are doing the right thing and just exposing yourself to different ideas, different things, and that's going to allow you to think a little bit differently when you leave here today. I put myself in that position a lot. I go to a lot of events. I go see people. I go study people's offices, and I'll sit in them for 2 days and just try to understand everything they do. And I just keep seeing all these people that are 30-nothing years old selling 800 homes a year, and like, what the fuck am I doing? Right? Wrong. So I test myself with those thoughts, and it's a bad habit or a good habit I have. I don't know which one it is. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Nothing too earth-shattering. I mean, I'm not, planning to be a huge team or anything like that. I still enjoy the business. I enjoy the personal aspect. I enjoy, being very involved in, my agents and my clients' lives. So I'm just going to keep doing it.
Fair enough.
Like Ed said, it'll probably change next year, but in 2022, we partnered with a broker agnostic platform called Place. They partner with the top 20% of the teams in the country, and they help you scale your business. So they provide a lot of the back-end support, legal, accounting, hiring, training. Oh, that's a huge thing for us, training. And we've been partnered with them for almost 2 years or a year and a half. And part of it, the reason why we joined them is because we wanted to scale and we wanted to grow bigger. I'm a firm believer in growing big enough that you can provide other opportunities for people underneath like your umbrella. So recently my husband and I started doing flips. Our goal is to get to at least 8 a month. I know we'll see where that goes. We're still in the growing phase. So if we get to 6 and it's too much, we might scale back down. But right now we're on target for 3 a month. And so with those 3, we need a lot more agents on our team because the amount of leads that we're getting, because we're putting well-priced, pretty homes on the market in normally somewhat entry-level price points. And so we're getting a decent amount of leads. What else? Yeah, we are actively looking for agents. So if you are if you are creative, have integrity, strategic or solution oriented, we are looking for you at the Who and Blue Real Estate Group.
Great. This question is for everyone. Is where your team is now, could you ever have imagined when you brought on that first hire that this is where you'd be? Or were you hoping to be in another direction? Did something catch you totally off guard that landed you where you are?
Yeah. So I actually never wanted to start a team. I am type A. I never used a TC. I did all my own everything because I'm type A implementer. And then I got pregnant. And I was like, oh, I want to do that too. And so that's when I started my team. And what was the question? I'm a mama of babies, guys. I didn't sleep.
Yeah. No, it's just, could you ever have seen yourself
yes.
end up here?
So when we partnered, we did want to scale, but we kind of were a little bit different. She wanted to grow bigger, and I just wanted to run like a tight, lean team so that I could still have my hand on everything. With that, so no, this wasn't the vision that we had. We're onboarding a few more agents now. So by the end of, actually the beginning of February, we'll be at about 13 total, and that's not where I thought we'd be. But also, it's been great because it affords myself and my partner to be able to do the things that we love doing. Right? She's actively involved in investments, and she just wants to go out and provide more opportunities for our team to invest and analyzing properties and things like that. And I love coaching. And so if I'm actively being a buyer's agent every day showing property, I can't really, do the things that I love doing, which is coaching my team. And so our desires and wants changed, but no, I did not see this at all.
Before we became partners, as we mentioned, we were accountability partners for probably 2 or 3 years. And we had talked about being partners, but our big whys didn't align until Christina had kids and until my business was too big that I couldn't travel spontaneously with my husband. And so that's when we partnered. And I think our vision for Who in Blue has changed over the years and will continue to change. I'm just excited to see where it goes, though. It's been really fun and really probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but really enjoyable.
Okay, I know I'm trying to remember the question. So I did not envision this at all. I had no idea. I was a solo agent for so many years. I just would go and hunt and kill and bring it back and go do it again. And, I was not like a natural born team leader or anything, So I had to figure that out. And that was sort of that natural progression with bring on the assistants and then wanting to get licensed. And I'm like, wait, what am I doing here, So that's what coaching has helped me with that, for sure.
Was it your coach that kind of opened you up to the idea of starting a team?
Yes, it was. I heard from, some of the other, especially like Keller Williams was always so big on building teams, from, decades ago, right? And people told me, Gabby, you're going to have to make a team. That I'm like, oh, God, let me just sell real estate, So I sort of had it in the back of my mind. But then my coach was like, you're already doing you're doing it. So just get better at it,
That's why we have coaches, right? Yeah. Level up. Ed?
Yeah, it depends what day you ask me that question, because you think back when I started, there were no teams, really. It was maybe an assistant, and that was it. Teams did not exist. So it transformed, and now you see big teams, little teams, small teams, no teams, and everything. So you get to choose today what your vision is, but I had the laser focus SEAL team for a long, long time. That was my career up until till COVID. And it was COVID when I discovered YouTube. Not that I didn't know it was there, but they closed the gym. I had a treadmill in my garage. There was a TV, and I discovered that books would play on YouTube. So I put on eMyth. And eMyth was the birth of rocket fuel, really. And it just talked about a baker getting into the baking business, and then she had to go sell the baked goods, and then she had to make them, and then she had to do books, and she just couldn't do it all, but she was a great baker. And it just kind of described the small entrepreneur and how they're trying to run a business, but they're just really good at that one thing and not building a company. And it just kind of opened my eyes about, I don't want to be that anymore, right? I've been in this career a long time. I love the idea of spontaneous vacations, and there was one year I took a lot of vacations, and each time I came back, I had to rev it back up and get it going again. So I want to build something that when I leave for a week or two, I come back, it's higher than when I left, not lower. And so I'm on that mission to make sure that happens.
Awesome. Anything you guys want to add? That's okay. You can say it again.
I've noticed that everybody's talked about coaching, kind of segue, but we have a coach too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should have a coach. Mm-hmm. Everybody should have a TC. I didn't like giving up control either, but you just have to, because you're going to make more money doing what you're doing than filling out paperwork. But coaching to us that's pushed our team larger because our coach encouraged it. And no one's good at everything. So you got to find people in it. When you do hire a team, that's why I think we work really well together, because Britt's pretty much good at everything, but I'm lacking in a lot of areas that she covers, so that's why she's going to answer the rest of the question.
So no, our vision has changed, but to Ed's point, it's nice to take vacations. It's nice, and you can't always be there, and you have clients, and an individual agent can't be there for every showing. You have other clients, and you have a family, and you have other things to do. So I feel like teams in today's business, because the business, I think, has gotten so much more complicated. We talk about that a lot, how there's just so much more involved, and we're in a now generation where people can buy anything they want on Amazon in 5 seconds. So they want responses in 5 seconds, and you as an individual can't do that. So that's kind of why we decided, hey, we want to be able to provide our clients with more, and to do that, you need to have more people. And
yeah, I just want to add what a team does, and I want to put this to bed, because people will try to use teams against us on listing presentations, saying, oh, you're just getting this team and not this individual service. But she just brought up a really important point. The whole idea of a team, and at least my mission, is to dramatically improve customer service. Yeah, we want to make more money, but the only way you're making more money is to improve the customer experience. And if you do it correctly, and you have your team members doing the right thing, that allows us as team leaders to connect with our clients and handle those really important things that come up, and makes us more available. So even though I may sell more homes than most people, I have more time than most people in this room to do what I need to do to connect with my clients, because that's where I put my time, in the really important conversations about negotiations, price reductions, what to do, what not to do, all those type of things. And I think that's what you have to think about your team, is how do you elevate the experience that your customers have, and then you're going in the right direction with your team members.
Great point. Great point.
Alyssa, can I just jump on that? Or are we low on time? Okay. To just echo what Ed was saying as well, there's two concepts I want to say. One is called Time Billionaire. I don't know if anybody knows Wendy Papasan. She's married to Jay Papasan, who wrote The One Thing. She mentioned the concept of Time Billionaire, where that means you have enough money to do whatever you want with your time. And when I heard that, I was just like, yes, like that describes what I want. And team helps you get there. And then secondly, kind of to go backwards a little bit, one of the other concepts that I had heard from talking with some commercial guys, and it's a pretty common business concept, syndication. So all the services and things that you're providing to people all fall into each other. So if you have a real estate company, or you have a construction company, you also have a property management company, you're doing flips, you have a real estate team. So each of these businesses fall into one another, and so it's a way for you to essentially make money and streamline a lot of things all in one go, because everything's vertically integrated. And that's one of the things that we kind of hope to grow more with Who and Blue. So one of our agents had a rough year last year. She was doing really well by our standards, but she was getting a little bit burnt out, and she was like, hey, I'm actually really interested in property or project management, and my husband and I just started our construction company. And so she kind of transitioned over and is now our project manager on our flips, and she's like loving it. And so our goal is to grow bigger and bigger so we can provide more opportunities like that for agents or people that we know.
Very cool. What's the best piece of advice that someone has ever given you, team related or other?
Start it over there.
Go ahead, Gabby. Yeah, come on, girl.
Go, Gabby. I can go really fast if you want. I'll go really fast. I've already kind of mentioned it. Figure out what your big why is. Is your big why that you need to provide for your family? Is your big why that you want to be the most knowledgeable, experienced person in the room? Is your big why, Ed, what's your big why?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay. Yes. Also, your big why will probably change a little bit, but getting more and more clarity around that. As I mentioned earlier, Christina and I were accountability partners, had been talking about partnering, but our whys didn't match. She wanted to control everything, and I wanted to control nothing. And we just could not get it together. And then when both of our big whys became, we want more time, that's when we were able to partner. So I feel like if you're able to get clear about why are you doing this, why are you willing to answer a client's call at 10 p.m. at night, it can be financial. That's actually probably the easiest why, because it's just, is what I'm doing making money? So I would say that's probably a lot of people have said, figure out your big why. So that's probably one of the best advice I've gotten.
Yeah, and your why obviously might change over time, and there are different, just to touch on what you were saying, we do a vision board workshop every year because the business is tough, and last year was really tough, and people feel like they're beating their head against a wall sometimes. So to have that there in front of you and to be, reminded of why you're doing it all, what you're doing it all for. So, but the best piece of advice is so hard to think of.
It can be life advice,
but
too. I said it can be life advice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, thinking about, we went to Arnold Goldstein's funeral this week, and just thinking about that, and so hopefully it doesn't have to be team related, but I would say, in our business, keep in mind of yourself as one of your clients too, and buy real estate, and that's going to help. Yeah, real estate. Yeah, so hopefully it didn't have to be team related. I just wanted to mention.
Yeah, no, that's great.
The first thing that came to mind for me is something Mike Ferry taught me early on. There's a couple things, but I've heard it so many times, but until you really dive into this thought and analyze yourself, which was, show up, pay attention, and don't be attached to the outcome. And they're just three things, but there's so much, right? Show up. But so many people really, they just don't show up. They come in late. They don't come in at all. Are they really paying attention? Are you paying attention to what you have to do to get to the next level, to get your business? And don't be attached to the outcome is nearly impossible when you have no escrows and no money. But it's really hard. But if you can just not be attached to the outcome, you can really guide your clients properly and communicate to them properly when you're not attached to that deal having to happen. And so it's such an important point. But the one piece of advice I give to every agent that walks in my door is not to forget what their job is. I always ask them the same question. What do you think your job is as a real estate agent? And they all have these great answers, take care of the customer, be of value, and, blah, 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 returning phone calls. You have one job. You really just have one job when you wake up. And as soon as you can learn this job, you can succeed. And your job is to find somebody who wants to buy or sell a home and convince them to use you. That's your job. And you just can't forget that. It's the only way to get ahead in this business is do that. So that would be my piece of advice.
Thank you.
Well, for real estate, I'd say dress nicely. It's amazing how many times I'll have agents show up with clients, and I can't tell who are the clients and who the agent is. They're all in sweats. Britt and I think when we do not get every listing appointment, we go on. We lost one this week. And they called me to tell me, which was nice, because then I had the opportunity to say, what could we have done to have been different, or what can we do to be better? And it's really enlightening because sometimes you'll beat yourself up if you don't get the listing, like, oh, they didn't like me, I wasn't good enough, I said this wrong. Sometimes you're lucky if you can get a hold of somebody afterwards, because sometimes they don't want to talk to you if they don't want to use you. But call them, email them. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Can I ask what it was about us that you didn't like? And sometimes it's something like, well, my cousin's husband is an agent and the family gave us pressure even though we liked you more. Then we feel better. Then there's other times that this guy came in and I'm an engineer and he had it all grafted out, and so I realized we were lacking in that. So you can make yourself better. So if you don't get something, don't think that we all get everything. We don't. All the people we interview, they don't all use, well, maybe they use you guys, but they don't always use us. So don't beat yourself up. But call, ask, try to always improve yourself. And stay friendly with other agents. Like, I call Gabby all the time. I'm always calling her, about advice of property, and she can call me. I'm getting this listing. What do you think about the price? Because then when you have an offer on their listing, they're more apt to give you some information that may help your buyer get the nod. So help each other out. Don't feel like we need to work together. We're not the other team.
A couple things I would add is know your value and know your product. Know your value. And your value does not need to be based off of previous sales. Every agent that comes across our door, I ask them, if you and I were going against a listing appointment, against each other right now on a listing appointment, who would get it? And most of the time they say, well, of course you would. And I say, why? And they go, because you've been in the business longer. I've been in business 12 years. That's a baby compared to some people. By that explanation, I should get no business, right? Like, if it's based on sales, like, it has to be, your value has to be based on you and what you're willing to do for the client. And then know your product, right? Know your product. Know what you sell. You sell houses. Go touch them. Go feel them. Go learn everything about them. If you sold, whatever carpet, you would touch, it's not like you would never touch the carpet. Go touch the carpet, smell it. What is it, right? So that's the same thing with houses. You should be going and doing brokers all the time, going and viewing all the properties. And then the last thing I want to say is a mantra that we have on our team is find the problem and be the solution. Find the problem, be the solution. What is the issue? What is the client's issue? What is the issue on the listing? Whatever it is, be solution oriented. I don't know is not accepted. Right? Go find the answer. That's our job. Go be better and go find the answer.
I want to add something to my comment about dressing well. Another thing we do is if we do get the listing, I don't usually ask them immediately, but once we get to know them better, I'll say, what was it about us that you decided to why you listed? And we have several times heard, well, you presented well. You showed up and you looked nice. And when we go to their house, they could be in jeans and sweats, and they're not looking nice, but they want their house represented by someone that looks nice. So that's more to add on to that comment. But also, you learn valuable things by saying, why did you use us? I know you interviewed these people, and then you know what's working.
That's a great point. What is the biggest mistake you've made in building your team? Go ahead. I'll give you a moment to.
Out of a pain point, like you ladies were talking about down there, we hired a director of operations. We had just partnered with Place, and there was a lot of onboarding and growth that we were doing, and they told us not to. And that's why we partnered with them, but they told us, hang tight, get through it. And we did not listen to our partners, and we hired a director of operations just too soon. She was great, but we just weren't ready for that position at all, and it set us back a little bit.
When you say you weren't ready for that position, do you mean you just didn't have the responsibilities outlined, or what happened?
So we didn't know what we wanted in the position because we had never had a director of operations, so we wanted her to figure it out. We want you to do more than our assistant. And we didn't have it outlined properly. Our business wasn't where it needed to be on that level to actually hire a director of operations. Like I said, it just came from a pain point, of not being able to handle everything. And so then we weren't able to set up clear goals for this director, right? Because we're like, I don't know what to do. Just do the things that what other director, go find another director of operations and ask them what they do, and then do it for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us have gone through, some fits and starts. I mean, we all started in sales. It's so different from like management and, building out these teams and everything. So, I mean, even same like in selling real estate, like we don't get every sale, every opportunity that we're up to bat for. And same, we're going to make mistakes. And if we're not making mistakes, basically we're not doing it then. We're not trying, like we're not thinking big enough or so yeah.
Yeah, and it goes back to the original hire slower, right? You can hire the wrong people, so put a little bit more time into who you hire. The other thing I think about is accountability. If you don't have check-ins often with certain things, these people can maneuver throughout a day and a week and a month and not do something, like your director of operations, right, if they don't have a clear plan. So really being clear on what their daily tasks are and some form of measurement without driving them crazy, of course. And I think that can be important. Another thing is, as you start to build and cash flow is coming in, it's easy to spend on things that aren't really producing an ROI, and they're things that you think your team's going to use. And so I keep learning that if I'm going to do something that costs money every month, and I'm expecting my team to use it, there's a good chance they're not. And so creating buy-in, right? Oh, you want this great tool? Good, it's $100 a month. And then they may use it, right? And if they don't, it's their problem. So just creating some buy-in from, certainly, we're talking sales team, right? Admin don't pay for anything. But those are little nuances I've learned along the way.
Any big mistakes, Cari and Britt, that you made along? They're perfect. They're perfect. Any little mistakes, maybe, that come up?
I think we're always making mistakes. It's always something that,
Oh my God, I've texted people with the wrong thing thinking it was somebody else. I lost 2 listings by doing that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was a bad, yeah.
I think, to that point is, I think we tend to get to the point where we're too busy and we don't have the right amount of help yet. So it's hiring before we're to a breaking point or things are falling through the cracks. That's where we struggle, is we wait too long to bring on that next person. That's probably been our biggest. We probably could be selling a lot more if we hired people when we needed them, opposed to after we needed them.
Fair. If we could keep it right with you guys, do you have an onboarding process for the couple agents that you have?
Not really, because we're not doing it very often.
We've only hired 2 agents, and we're years apart, so it's not like a process that we have. We don't have like a systematic process. Yeah, that's not really.
Were they agents before they came to you? Do they kind of know the ropes already?
Yeah, so they're. It's to everyone's point about culture. We've had to have known them, been around them, had several conversations with them, and really like them, and they like us. And the first one, I called him. And said, "We're looking for somebody just like you," and he's like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll come over to your team." He was on a different team at that point. And the second one, we were looking for somebody for a while, and we had to be a right fit. It had to be somebody that could sit in our meetings and laugh with us and get our jokes, and things like that. We wanted somebody to want to be part of our team and have fun. And it's work, but it's fun too. And we want somebody to stay, because both of the agents we do have, the newest one has only been with us since the summer, but our first agent, we haven't had anyone leave, but granted, we're somewhat of a newer team.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, our onboarding changes based on how many people we're trying to onboard, but we're learning a lot through the onboarding process, and we've built a very systematic onboarding process, and I'm changing it again, but we have internally, I'm not sure what we're going to tell them, but we're calling it the gauntlet. And they've got to make it through a week or two of hardcore work, right? Calling people, texting them, emailing them, and hitting them all, calling their sphere, calling people they don't know, and let's just see how uncomfortable they are or not. And that can flesh out everyone in the gauntlet, right? That's going to make it or not make it. And then we have the onboarding, 2-week onboarding process, which takes them through A to Z, from contracts to process to, you know, how to hold an open house properly. And we have a whole gamut of from, you know, not very experienced to pretty well experienced, but still they have to go through that entire process.
And is that you leading them through that process, or who kind of handles that?
It's the team, right? So everyone has their roles. We have a sales leader. We have closing managers. We have listing managers. So depending on what we're teaching, they're going through that. When it comes to skills and sales, and that's where I jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have really like a formal onboarding process. You know, I'm not really like a recruiter or anything. Everybody who's come to my team, it's been just a very natural progression. You know, people sort of introduced to me and things like that because, you know, we do a lot of things at my home, and it's very sort of intimate, you know. So although I have found people on Craigslist. So yeah, and then, you know, it's not a real formal process. I do a lot of the training myself, for better or worse, you know, and the person kind of, you know, just is put in the fold with us, and you know, and we just jump into it, and the team is also, you know, nice enough to be involved as well. So.
Are most agents on your team, did they come to your team as new agents?
Pretty much new. Like nobody really had any transactions, or they got their license with me, you know, so pretty new.
And is that, would you say you prefer to kind of?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I'm open to, you know, different possibilities. So I don't think it. You know, I know some people are like, oh, I don't want someone that's already done transactions, has bad habits there. Da da da. I mean, I'm not so rigid where I think I know how the future is going to go with every person that I encounter. You know, so.
So thanks to our partnership with Place, we do have a very extensive onboarding process. One of the mistakes that we made early on is taking someone's word for it. You are going to lead gen, and you're so excited. Great, come on. And so we now have implemented what we call a tryouts. So there's a week of you lead genning with us. They get to, you know, the agent gets to see how our team operates and be a part of it. And then we get to see if they're actually going to pick up the phone and call. So many people say they will, and then they're just looking at the phone. And so that's been really beneficial. And then our onboarding process, we actually have a 3-month training course that's designed to get you into production in the first 30 days. So we have 2 different ones, so producing agents and non-producing. On our team, if you've closed less than 12 transactions, you're in the non-producing, which is really exciting because that's where the bar is, right? And then if you've closed over 12, then you're on the producing side. And so it's a pretty intense training. It's Zoom, you know, and it's like once a week. But again, it's learning about the job, but the focus is getting you into production in your first 30 days.
Does anyone give their team leads, and are there any prerequisites to that, or do you have to earn it, or how might that work?
Yeah, we do. We have a process, and yes, you have to qualify. We have different lead generation systems in our company, and very few get listing leads. You have to be a QLA, qualified listing agent, to get them. For the buyer leads, we have on and off buttons. We have different teams. If we have accountability, if they show up and don't have their accountability forms filled out, we turn off the lead button for the week. It's off. And and they have to do certain production to move up the ladder and price point for certain leads. So we have price thresholds where we can adjust in our systems.
Yeah, ours, that's awesome. And that's where we'd like to get to. But right now, we're just matching the client with the agent. We cover all of LA County and Orange County and then parts of like even San Bernardino. So quite honestly, we match where the agent is located, the personality of the agent, what their strengths are. Whether they're new or not is irrelevant. It's how hungry are and how we feel like you're going to be a good match. But eventually, yes, we would love to. And some leads that we do are kind of like a round robin, and whoever can get them first. But we would love to get to that place.
Both Christina and I would like to be out of production ourselves, where we're just running the team. And so on our team, as you qualify, you will get to. The way we do it is usually we partner with you. So if it's my friend and they want to buy, we partner together on the sale, where the partner agent is doing most of the grunt work. They're showing, they're writing offers, and then we're coming in for the high level conversation. So that would be what type of offer should we write? We would step in and negotiate with the listing agent, and then we would just come in for like the higher level conversations during escrow. And we found that actually works really well, because then we only have to answer the phone 5 to 10 times for the client, and then we're coaching the agent on the side.
Okay, the question was leads.
Yeah.
Lead
Do you
sources.
distribute leads? Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a few different lead sources. I do distribute the leads. Some of them are round robin. A lot of what we do is like speed to lead, right? Because people, it's like the Uber culture. You know, people don't want to wait. They have to wait 5 seconds. They're going, to the next guy, right? So we do speed to lead. I do still advertise with Zillow. Hate them or hate them, what are you going to do? So my agents love those leads. I don't. They're terribly expensive, but, so, yeah.
Yeah. Cari and Britt?
Yeah, we when leads come in, we just decide who is going to be a better match for them. So depending on what area they're in, who specializes in that particular area, sometimes they go to Cari or I, and sometimes they go to either Forrest or Katie. So just depends on who the right fit is, and try to even them out.
And would you say these leads, are they coming from the same place that you got leads from? Like, let's say you started in real estate cold calling, expireds and FSBOs and stuff. Are your agents doing that now? Or do you, like Abby said, do you have Zillow coming in? Are there SBAOR leads that you're passing around? Or what does that look like?
All of the above to some degree, but we really try not to pay for leads as much as possible. We have, but it's been a little bit different, not more traditional like Zillow. Most agents are only able to successfully lead gen and have 4 to 5 lead levers that you do successfully. And for everybody, your number one lead lever should be your sphere, because the amount of people and the amount of time you have to spend converting them is significantly less than a stranger. So even if you don't think your sphere can buy, or you don't think they trust you, that's a limiting belief that you have. So on our team, during our business coaching for last year, we really encouraged the agents just to get down to 3 different lead levers. For most of them, that included Sphere and Open House, and then there was some third lead lever, depending on if it was social media or a NUMS networking or whatever your talents are. And then the leads that we get as a team are dispersed, and usually they're coming from referral, outside agents, our flips, social media.
Anyone over here want to add to that? To where your leads come from?
I mean, most of our leads are referral based, and Cari's been doing it for 40 years. And I'm being a mom, I get a lot of leads from my friends in the mom network. I mean, when you have kids, you're always buying and selling houses. I'm involved in my kids' school and things like that. I've got 3 of them, so there's a lot of parents to meet, and we give out those leads, depending on where they're coming from to our agents.
Yeah, I'll just add, it's been proven over and over again that leads come from one place. It's different every single time. That's it.
That's the place.
You go look at the best 20 agents in the South Bay, and they all do business 20 different ways. None of them match up. You've got guys that work with new construction, people that just work west of the Strand. There's just different ways of people building business, from networking to relationships to parents and schools, and it's just limitless, the different options. So you just have to connect with them, figure out where you shine. Just like when you're putting kids through sports, you try all 6 or 7 and they shine over here. It's the same thing. Just figure out which one connects with you, where you can generate repeat business, and that it is repeatable. You're not waiting for it, but you can go out there and drive it and pull it in.
Fair. And Ed, I think you touched on this a little bit. Without sharing the actual cost, what expenses will you cover for your agents, or what are some of the benefits of being on your team?
Generally, I tell them they don't have to spend anything, really. They can come in and work and not spend a nickel. There's certain things they can upgrade now, like I said, if they want to go to Real Scout instead of using the MLS for MLS Search, for example, things like that. But generally, they can come and work and not spend money. That's how it's mostly set up. It's just these little, magic little things that people sell, this magic dust that's everybody wants for free, but I'm starting to make them pay for certain things like that.
Got it. You want over here?
Ours is the same. I mean, you can come in and work for free. We cover all of that.
The agents we have a split with our brokerage, and the agents do have to pay their split and their monthly dues. Yeah. But otherwise, the team covers mostly everything else.
Got it. And so would you say just a benefit of being on your team versus someone else at Keller Williams, for example, what would you say is your biggest benefit?
All right. Well, there's our broker. So first of all, you get to be part of Keller Williams South Bay. Woo woo. The team culture, the culture aspect in our brokerage is incredible. And then also,
Sometimes when you join a team, hypothetically, you might have less of a split than if you were a solo agent with the brokerage, hypothetically.
Yes. So the benefits to joining our team, well, so if you're a solo agent, you're on your own, okay? You're on our team, you get us backing you, you get the brokerage backing you, and then you get Place, which is Ben Kenny and Chris Suarez I don't know if you guys know Ben Kenny and Chris Suarez. Yes, everyone's shaking their head. That's who we partnered with. So you get them on speed dial, right? Like Ben Kenny's our personal coach. And so you get all of this backing. That's the level of training. In order to be partnered with Place, to be a senior partner, you have to have $1 million in GCI year over year. So that's who you're rubbing shoulders with. That's who the training is geared towards. Some people like us on the panel who have successful businesses, the level of training that we need and that we desire is going to be at a higher level than maybe a simple brokerage could provide, right? And so partnering with Place gives us that, because we're on a call with everyone who's made multiple millions of dollars GCI last year, right? And so we're listening up real closely. What do they need? What are they learning? And so that's the agents on our team. That's what they get to experience. They get to be a part of that. And that's a level of training, support, coaching, marketing, all of that.
And the agents don't pay for that. We pay, as a team, we pay a split to Place to be a part of Place.
I don't mean for this to be a pitch, by the way. It's more it's more just, the same way there's a certain fit with us and our clients, right? There'd be a different fit for, team members and team leaders.
The original question was like,
what do you
what are the benefits of being on your team? Yeah.
Yes. What do you cover? Okay, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I switch halfway?
I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
We have it's funny because we almost have a library with checking out the open house signs and all the things like that. So, I mean, really, there's a lot that's provided, the leads, the support, the CRM, coaching. I do pay for that. It's so definitely there are a lot of perks. Luckily our brokerage views us as the team for, I don't know how much to your theory you had before is also true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me, not to confuse this even further, but let me switch this question one more time. For someone that's going to be starting a team, what type of benefits do you think that they might start with to offer their team members to attract somebody to their team?
I think you have to think about that differently. What you got to, I built a lot of things based on competitiveness and what do I want and how am I going to get it? And I keep having to switch that, right? So I built Sports Star Relocation that was for athletes. And the first one I got, I said, oh my God, that's great. And I want them all. And I made this stance. I get all athletes in LA. That's it. They're all mine. And then they weren't coming to me. And like, what the hell happened? I made that statement. And then I said, well, I'm going to just build a network around the nation so I can make sure I get them all. And I still had to change that thinking. And I said, you know what? What's their problem? What solutions do they need solved? There's nothing to do with me but them, and just think about them. So when you think about your team, you have to think about where are they weak and when can you help, how can you help them? But really, who are you serving? You're serving your clients. So what can you do to really serve your clients? And what are their problems? And where can't you perform to your best and to the level and the quantity that you want? And so bringing team members in to keep solving the problems of the clients. And I think if you keep your focus there, you're going to win. And then, of course, yes, your team is your family. They are your customers. They become your customers in a sense, because we all know we have to take care of our customers, and we work hard to do that. But if you can treat your team like your customers and treat them the same way, I think you got a heads up on being able to continue and succeed.
Yeah. Anything to add?
Back to when you said earlier, what is your why? Why do these agents want to be on a team? And what is their why? And what are the areas that they're struggling in that they may want to join a team for? And it could be because they want more flexibility. They can't do all of the things on their own because, as we all discussed here, we want to serve our clients better, and they probably want to serve their clients better too. So you could help provide that. I mean, we provide marketing. I mean, social media. I mean, I'm terrible at social media. I'll be honest, it's not my area. But, and I know a lot of agents, if you're doing social media, that's like a full-time job. I see some of these agents out there, and they're doing so much social media. I'm like, how are you selling? Like, you can't do it all. So I think providing those aspects to your team is helpful. So they can just go out and do what they want to do, which is sell. And at the end of the day, that's what we all are. We're selling. We're agents, and to do everything else, it's like running your own individual business, and that's just hard. So providing that information to them, providing those services for them, and paying for a lot of the costs that they're scared to do, especially a newer agent in the business. It's a lot of fees involved in being an agent and not knowing when your next paycheck's going to be here. That's scary. So to provide leads and to give some sort of, hey, you're going to be okay. When Forrest first joined our team, we even had him do some admin type of stuff, and we gave him somewhat of a salary. So it was baby steps for him to be able to go full commission-based. It wasn't immediately. So that's really nice to have that security, especially if you don't have anything else to fall back on. If you are in a marriage and your other partner isn't working, and that's how you've got to pay your bills. So there's a lot you can do to provide that.
Cool. Before we move on to some questions from the audience here, is there any final thoughts you want to share? All right, let's get into it. Who has a question for our panelists up here? Mimi, I know you don't need a mic.
So I have a question for
Who in blue?
what cities are these affordable homes that you're for?
She meant entry level, not affordable.
Where is that?
Carson, South LA, Northeast LA. These are areas, I mean, now in most of those, well, not Carson, but South LA and Northeast LA, the median price point is now $1 million. So affordable may have been the wrong word, but yes, that's where. Orange County, the median price point is about $1 million, not on the coastal cities, but inland.
Are they mostly single-family homes? Or?
All single-family homes.
I have another question.
Go ahead, Mimi.
Okay, my other question is for pretty much everybody. I was just wondering who your coach is today and why did you pick them and how long have you had them?
Just so everyone can hear in the room. Yeah, the question is, do you have a coach? Who is your coach?
I think they all have.
How long have you had them? Did I miss a part?
And how did you go about choosing them versus like Buffini versus Mike Berry, Tom?
Yeah. Go ahead. Who wants to start there?
I can start. We originally had a MAPS coach through Keller Williams. We went through a couple of them to find the right one, and then we realized he does not benefit financially if we do well or we don't do well. He gets paid the same amount every single month, which I think is how most coaches operate. So when we partnered with Place, we decided not to continue with MAPS coaching. I think I think coaches in general are wonderful. And so now being partnered with Place, I wouldn't say we have one dedicated coach, but we probably have 6 to 7 individuals that coach us on different aspects of our business who are financially tied to our success. So one of those people goes through our P&L with us every single month, and we talk about our costs of sale, how are we profitable. We then have, as she's mentioned, Ben Kinney and Chris Suarez, and then one of the other founders or partners with Place is Brian Gubernick, who's pretty popular in the real estate investing world. He's been talking to us as we've been figuring out some of the structure of our team recently. And then we have a couple other people we talk to on the regular.
I do Tom Ferry coaching. I never even had intended to do it. They just gave me a consultation. I'm like, I don't need coaching. They're like, we're going to match you with someone that's going to be amazing. I'm like, yeah, right. But they did. I can't believe it. I still have my same coach that they match you with like 7 years ago. I talk to her every week. And that's literally like right around the time that I started my team, and now they're coaching with her. And so she's a coach, under the Tom Ferry organization. And there are conferences and things like that too that we go to personally. And yeah.
I think about this in 3 different coaches in a sense. That I have started with Mike 30-some years ago, Mike Ferry. And I've stuck with them just because it becomes, you build relationships and connections, and you kind of go back and you connect with people and learn from them, and you see who's growing, and you grow with them. And now with EXP, it's a very collaborative culture, and everyone just opens their playbook. So I basically just stealing everyone's playbook within the company, because everyone just likes sharing, because they do benefit from growth within the company. And then I always have a mastermind group. I've had this same one for probably 15 or 17 years. We meet every Thursday at 6:30 a.m. and they're all big producers from around the country, and we just share every week something for 30 minutes and share best practices that we're all doing or just learning from.
So we've been through 4 different coaches. We started with Travis Robinson, who I don't think is even coaching anymore. And then we went to Tom Ferry when we had 2 different coaches at Tom Ferry. And you kind of, I think after a while, you're like, okay, well, we kind of got everything we needed from those coaches. They were great. We had a great time with them. And then when we went over to Sotheby's, Sotheby's has a different sales program. It's called Ninja. And so we took the installation, with the Ninja installation, a couple of times, and really that spoke to us a lot. I think that's grown our business in big ways. But that is something that I think is very personal. So depending on your sales personality, everyone is different. Some people are more passive, some people are more aggressive. And Ninja was something that I think for Cari and I spoke to us very well. So we now have a coach through Ninja, and we've had him now for 2 years. I'm going to add to that.
And you may not, if you get a coach, don't feel like you have to stay with them. Our first coach at Tom Ferry was not a good fit for us. I think he just didn't like women. We did not get along with him. He was condescending, and our second coach was great, and we like doubled our business that year, and then we did it again the next year. We got so busy, we didn't have time to meet with him an hour a week because of what he brought to us. So we adored him from Tom Ferry. So remember, just because they fit you with a coach, fire quickly. And then we also, for our team, we give them coaching sessions, and we pay for that for our team.
Okay, next question.
Yeah, I had a question about social media and what platforms that you advertise on. What do you do, and has it brought you success in actual clients?
I'm sorry if you've seen us on TikTok.
That's a big question. Yes. So Instagram and Facebook, most of my sphere are older, and they're mostly on Facebook. So that's where my business comes from. And repeat the question.
What are you doing? Just short videos? And do they actually say, I saw your video, hey, I need to buy a house? Are you actually getting results?
Yeah, so I actually teach a whole social media class, but really it's about understanding and knowing who your sphere is and what they want. Jackie and I's sphere is very different, and so her sphere wants short, quick videos, just great, get straight to the point, primarily on Instagram. My sphere likes longer how-to, what is escrow, simplified, real estate terms simplified. And so it's really about understanding and knowing who your sphere is. I treat my social media lever as a business, right? That's my farm. So I test it. I know who's in it. I know what they want. It's a whole kind of math equation. I know that if I post something like this, a business related post, I'm going to get this much interaction. So I need to sprinkle in the things that they like. I have really cute kids. And so everyone likes seeing my kids. You're like, yes. And so, I'll do some business and then sprinkle in some kids in there. That's a personal choice. I know some people don't, but my kids are really cute. So, and so I just I know what my sphere wants, and I know what type of content, so it's going to look different for every single person, but it's important to test your sphere and understand and treat it like a business. It's not about just throwing up something. We have a whole business plan related around around social media.
On our team, most people are on some sort of form of social media, but as a team, we advertise on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I said YouTube. Yeah. And we do different types of videos. I would say a majority of my business in 2020 and 2019 came from videos. It's hard to do it, and I wouldn't say we're experts at it. There's people that are a lot better because we just don't have the time to go viral every week. That's not possible. But yeah, if you're not doing social media, do it because you're in front of your clients as they're just casually browsing, and the video is fun. You're dancing one week, and then the next week you're like, you should buy a house before February, and then they're like, oh, that's a good idea.
I'm not dancing on social media.
Don't do it.
That wasn't me. No. I have a virtual assistant that helps me with my social media posts because it's not really my thing. But that's what's nice about having a team and younger agents, and sometimes they are dancing on there, and we do get business from it. I remember one of my agents, you think something bad happens, right? Like the client was late for the showing, but so she just did a little quick video and literally got a buyer from it. So.
I think with social media, you have to find ways to create the interaction. I think they touched on it, but that's where you win is if you can get comments posted on your post, then you comment back to each and every one and create that interaction. That's where you start to win. You can try to figure out how to get creative and go viral. I couldn't coach that. Maybe you guys can, but I think if you just connect personally with whoever's in your social media sphere and you talk to them on that platform, that's probably the best thing you do. And the other is just be consistent. Whether it's once a week, once a month, once a day, pick something. I know Brian at Dan Beer's office has a sign on his door when I went to go study his office, 15 videos a day. So Now, they may not all go on social media. They may go direct to clients, but he will not leave his office without doing 15 personal videos a day. And that's just his personal commitment.
For us, we look at it as we get clients that will call us and say, "We see you everywhere," and and I think that's just another touch. So we do it for just being out there for people to see us. I'm more Instagram, she's more Facebook, and and then there's the TikTokers, which we don't get to. That's maybe our next hire. So it's just just having consistency. Shannon on our team does most of our posts, but Cari is really good at doing videos. I am not. So Cari is out there doing videos, and then Shannon will repost them, but we do different kinds of things. But yeah, looking at your engagement always. And I have my personal page, and then we have our business page, and I do my kids on my personal page, but I sprinkle in a little bit of real estate on my personal page. So I will repost from our business page onto my personal page, but in a very tasteful way. Like, I try not to overdo it because I see how people react to other people's business posts, and they don't like it. People don't like if you're just constantly flooding their feed with your "hire me, I'm so great, this real estate." Like, they'll unfollow you, or you won't get the engagement. So I try to do more like 3 personal posts, and then maybe I'll throw in 1 real estate post. And I think people from my sphere, they like pretty things. So I'm not posting every listing on my personal page. I'm posting the pretty ones. I'm posting the ones that photograph well, because a lot of people like the interior design followers, those type of things. So that's what I focus on. But again, it's knowing your audience and knowing your sphere.
I wanted to touch back on your guys' weekly team meetings. How does that agenda look? And is it different every week, or do you guys have an agenda that you guys go off of?
I have an agenda. It does change from week to week, but right now we are focused on recognizing success and giving people some, good feelings and attention. Then we're really rolling into matching, right? Who's got good buyers that match up with off-market sellers that we have, and trying to put those matches together. Then we go into sales techniques, skills. We go into lead generation, and then if there's legal updates or important updates. So those are the main topics we're covering.
We have what we call Power Up 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Mondays in person, and then Friday, and the rest of the days are in Zoom. And then on Friday, we have a Place Partner Zoom for an hour from 8 to 9. And then we also have Inventory Creation Day and Call Night. So we're doing those like team meetings, but while we're lead generating together. There is an agenda. It's always business focused, but also mindset focused, because if your mindset isn't in the right place, then it's going to be hard to be successful.
We do a book club too, so we talk about like the book that we're reading, and sometimes we'll do it on Zoom, sometimes we'll do it in person. We'll do fun events. We call it team building, So, but yeah, we'll try to focus on a win, as well.
We have a meeting just every Monday, and it's even hard to get everybody to that one. We're really a busy team. But we meet, we go over listings, what we did over the weekend, so a little bit of fun stuff, but just once a week, but we're constantly in contact, and we hang out a lot. Like Britt said, we like each other. When we go to office, Sotheby's events, we find out we're always just hanging out with each other at the bar because we like each other. But so just once a week, but we are constantly, we've got text streams with everybody.
I just add, because as you guys are talking, I forgot about all the other 82 meetings we have, but we do have a leadership meeting where they get together each week, and it's a very structured meeting. There's an administrative meeting, so the admin is just checking in with each other about process. And then we have a sales and marketing meeting that's just the sales and marketing team, not the sales team, but the marketing team. And so each of these are separate entities within the company.
Another question over here.
Hi. I'm going to ask Ed, since I know Ed, what is the craziest or most creative way you got a listing?
God, I don't know. I can't think of crazy. We do some fun stuff. We do some fun videos. That's definitely got out of my box that he's talking about. We did a rap video. Let me think about it. I can't think of crazy getting listings. It probably had. That was Bahati's story. For Bahati's story, he called an expired listing, and the guy answered the phone and said, Bill's Pizza Shop or something. And then Bahati said, I'll take a large pepperoni. And then it just kind of rolled into this conversation. He was a doctor, and Bahati went and brought a pizza to the doctor's office and wrote a note, please call me on the pizza box on the inside, gave him lunch, and we got the listing from delivering a pizza. Not crazy, but creative.
Yeah, question over here.
Hi, for the Keller Williams team, I just want to thank everyone also, but I was wondering how many years into the business did you notice consistency? Yeah, as a team or even solo?
I don't know if this exactly answers the question, but I once had a top producing agent from Keller Williams say to me, like, oh, I can do about 300K GCI every year without trying. And I was like, man, that sounds so cool. And I would say I'm not at 300K, but I can do about 200K without, I don't want to say trying, but like if I neglect my sphere, I lose some people for sure, but some people are still coming to me if I don't do a great job following up. I don't know if that's what you're asking.
How many years did you notice? Because as a newer agent, you close a deal and then it's like months out, you close another one, and then further out, you close another. Like, when is it consistent for you guys?
I would say it took me about a year or two to come to that realization, because you get a client and the biggest misconception is I just need that one deal, right? And it's going to roll into more business. And so you get so excited and you do the start-stop because you stop doing the things that got you that deal. And you get pretty excited and you close that one and you look up and you go, oh, there's no more business. And what you do with your business today shows up in 90 days. We've all heard that, right? It's actually 180 days. It's 180 days from start to finish. 90 days is when you started that lead gen and you got the client, right? Or you got the lead. So in order to get the lead, that's 180 days. So if you think after you close your first transaction, you're going to get your next paycheck in 6 months. So it wasn't until that reality, because you always think you're going to be the one, right? Like, I hear you, but really if I just get that one closed one. And so it took me probably about a year or two to realize that and to start treating my business like a business and be consistent.
I would say it probably took me 4 years into the business where I wasn't like, where's my next deal coming from? Or like where I was like, now I know like there's ups and downs. There's some months I don't close anything because that's just how the business is. And then all of a sudden you'll be in 5 transactions at once. So it took about 4 years.
My question is for Cari and Britt. Like in the beginning of your career, where did you get business from?
Beginning of my career?
Both of you.
Yeah. It was such a different market. If you will ask Ed, we had MLS books that you had to, every week the new listings would come out. It was so different. But always back to your sphere, always back to your personal connections. I think open houses are probably our biggest source of business. We don't even have a sign-in sheet at our open house. We're not that agent. We're not that kind of person. They come in, we like them, they like us, then we'll talk and they'll give us their number. If it doesn't feel like the right fit, I don't even ask them their name or their number. So get out there. If you can do an open house every weekend, you're going to be a top agent soon. We really push the open house things. Hope that helps.
One last question here.
This is a question for Ed. Is there a certain price point that your team specializes on, or do you take all the leads that come in your pipeline?
Well, I think I would answer the question with no. But there are points in my career where I adjusted where I pursued business. So there were times when I wanted to elevate my business to the next level. And I'll think back to the year I wanted to make $1 million in 1 year, and that was important to me. And so I said, I'm not going to call anything below X dollars that are for sale by owners or expired listings. I'm a lead generator. That's, you ask where you get the business. I didn't have a sphere. I was 25 or 26 years old when I started, and I didn't feel I had a sphere. So I just prospected. I called people, I door knocked for sale by owners, expired listings, and I did a lot every single day. So when I want to elevate my price, I just raise the floor of where I'll call into. If someone calls in below my floor, I treat it like any other listing, and I'll go hardcore for it. I just won't prospect into it.
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap this up. If we could all give a huge round of applause for our panelists. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you all for joining today, and I wish you all a great Wednesday. If we could just get a quick picture for the... Thank you so much.